I'm at 223 Drake Avenue doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We are looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that may be of concern to the potential buyer. This is a slab on grade home, so the clean out is out front. Most of these situations I'm only able to go from the clean out, which is only about 3 feet in front of the house, out to the main. A lot of times they can't go backwards, they're not two-way, which is normal. Most of the issues are between here and the street anyway, but because the way these were made, most of these clean outs here are they have what they call a sweep, which forces you to go one direction. When you get to the bottom of the pipe, you can't go backwards or upstream into the house. You have to go downstream or out towards the main. So you can see the front of the house here. We've got getting to be about a foot of snow on the ground here. And the clean out is right there. There's already a hole in it. Probably got run over by a lawnmower at some point. But it makes it easier for me because I don't have to take the cap out. It's just big enough to get my camera through. So, let me get to the bottom now. So, I was actually wrong. I am actually going to be able to go upstream into the house. So that's good. I'll be able to go upstream and downstream. Okay. So, I'm able to go upstream, which is cast iron, which would be inside the house. That would be normal for this age of house. Probably won't go too far. I did not zero out the counter when I got to the bottom of this, so but this has a locator on the camera, so it's just as a reference point to reference the video if I do find anything. But so far everything looks really good. And see, we've already made it back to the clean out. You can actually see light, which is straight up out of the main stack in the center of the house. Usually the bathroom is on one side and the kitchen's on the other in a house like this. They have one, what they call a wet wall, where they run the water and drains inside that center wall in between the bathroom and the kitchen. But you can see on the bottom left hand corner, that tells you the angle that the camera is sitting at, which is almost 90 degrees, which shows that I'm running straight up and down. So I was able to inspect the line all the way back to the origination at the stack, the main stack, and the cast iron looked really good. Looks like it's been cleaned out. I mean, with cast iron you can never tell how much age is left in it just because it rusts, and obviously can't see how thin or thick it is, but it looked really good from what I can see. The condition of the cast iron looked really good. It was still open, pretty wide open. Sometimes they can rust shut, or rust a lot to the point where they would need some cleaning or they deburr it basically. So, on the way out here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the bottom of the stack, which is where I am now. I'm going to zero out the camera here at the base. That way we can kind of see where we are. And so I'm right at the base of the clean out, starting at 0 because I've already seen some little bit of roots here. This is probably why this clean out was installed in the first place. There's probably been some roots here before. It's not uncommon. They always build these houses and then put a tree right in the center of the front yard, and so after years and years you end up having some root intrusion. That was pretty minimal. It's not a real big problem. That can be taken care of with regular maintenance. And since you do have this clean out here, I'm trying to figure out what I am seeing there, if that's just some tree roots getting across. It's kind of hard to see on that spot with the camera. Here's a very small offset, just a pipe connection and a little bit more roots. This exterior pipe is clay, which is also normal for the age of the house. The outside, and that's where the roots are real common, because these pipe sections are only about 3 feet apart, and so there's just a lot of connections that have to be made. And so over the years, that ends up becoming a weak spot for roots. But it's not uncommon, and these can be taken care of with either regular cleaning. If it's done well, like it looks like, basically, if this could be done every few years. You can also put chemical. I think there's a chemical treatment. There's one called Root X, which is kind of like a Kleenex to a tissue. It's one of the most widely known, but so far you can see that is a lot of roots right there. We're at about 31 to 32 feet here. So this will have to be cleaned. Here's an issue here at 33 feet. I'm not sure if I'm at the main. This could be an issue here. I may not be able to get past this point. Looks like we have some roots, a build up, and a pipe dropping. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to locate this spot and mark it, because I have no way of telling based off of what I can see. All I see is roots. So I believe this is stopping the well, it will obviously stop my inspection from going any further unless I can punch a hole in it. Sometimes I can punch a hole with the camera, but that looked like a pretty big ball of roots, so I'm not expecting to get past it, but we'll give it a little shot here. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get through that. So what's going to be needed here is definitely a cleaning. I am going to pause the video, and I'm going to locate the exact location of these roots, so they know how far I've gotten. It's 35 feet, so it should be pretty close to the street, at least the sidewalk. But this is going to have to be cleaned really well and re-inspected to make sure that there's not any structural issues past this point or caused by this large root ball. So again, for right now, I'm going to pause the video and get a locate of exactly where we are. Okay, so it's hard to really tell, but this is right at the curb. So this could be, I don't know about the municipality up here in New Carlisle, if the sewer district covers the lateral, to the sidewalk or whatever, like other parts of town, or if they cover it, or if it's just covered at the main only. But there would have to be a little bit of a few questions asked, and maybe a couple phone calls to New Carlisle to their sewer department to see if this is covered, because they may actually cover this and may actually fix this part, because I cannot get past it. And like I said, it is right at the curb, which in a lot of municipalities, that from there on, once you get off the property, is covered by the city. Obviously I can't make it past that point due to the amount of roots and possible structural issue. It is 4'2" to the invert, which is where my camera is. So it'd be roughly 3'8" to the top of the pipe, right at the curb. I did put a flag, and it is straight out from this clean out. With the snow on the ground, I'm unable to mark it with paint, and so if the flag is missing, it is directly out right at the curb line. So for the most part, the line looked pretty good structurally. I mean, the interior looked good, and usually roots are not an uncommon thing to find. There is a great deal of it in those spots, so that would be a good idea to get these first. Make a phone call to New Carlisle, because see, I see something here and I just can't tell what that is. It looks like just a little couple roots, like a little piece of plastic or something that's caught. That does not look like broken clay though. It looks like maybe it's could even be a spider web or something on there. It's kind of hard to tell what that is due to the angle, but it does not look like clay. But it is right here at the in the first section of pipe. So, but again, I'm going to recommend first that this whole thing gets sent to, or this gets sent to New Carlisle, to their sewer department, or at least a phone call made to see if they will cover this, and then either way, this should be cleaned and re-inspected. If it is on the home buyer, it should be cleaned and re-inspected after the cleaning to check the structural issues, and possibly when that is done, I think this should be evaluated by a licensed plumber. And having the, as you can tell, I've pulled out of the camera, pulled out of the clean out with the camera, so we're no longer in the pipe. But usually when this is cleaned, a lot of the companies that do the cleaning will have a camera, and a lot of times once you pay for the cleaning, because it's more expensive, they will include a post-cleaning inspection. But if not, obviously I can be contacted. But the gist of it is, I recommend that this be cleaned and re-inspected to make sure that those roots haven't caused any structural issues because of the amount of roots that are filling the pipe, and or called the municipality to see if they will handle the major issue out by the street. So but that will end the inspection at 223 Drake Avenue in New Carlisle, Ohio.